Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. So today we're cracking open the 2025-2026 West Virginia testing guidelines. Look, I know the word testing alone can kind of make your heart race a little bit, right? But we're going to completely reframe that today. Think of This Explainer as your personal, empowering playbook. We're going to break down exactly what the state requires, what it actually means for students, and how you can navigate the whole year ahead with absolute confidence. Let's get right into it. Here's our game plan for today. We'll start off with the West Virginia testing landscape, then move into K-12 required assessments, accommodations, and accessibility, educators and adult learners, and finally, wrap up with why testing matters. All right, Section 1, the West Virginia testing landscape. Let's set the stage for 2025-2026. You know how it is. Educational rules literally change every single year. So if you're making assumptions based on last year's rules, yeah, you might end up with some pretty outdated info. For 2025-2026, the current West Virginia Department of Education, or WVDE's, guidance is our ultimate go-to source. Everything we're diving into today relies strictly on this fresh, official data to help you navigate the year without a hitch. Moving on to Section 2, K-12 Required Assessments. Let's talk about exactly what your student is going to take. So, the state actually maps out a really clear testing journey for kids. In pre-K and kindergarten, it kicks off with the West Virginia Early Learning Reporting System. Then, as students shift into grades 3 through 8, they move into the core measure, which is the General Summative Assessment. That one covers English, language arts, math, and, occasionally science. Finally, when they hit grade 11, the focus shifts toward the future with the College and Career Readiness Assessment. It's actually a very logical progression that just naturally aligns with what they're already learning in class. Now, beyond those main, everyday grade-level tests, there are a few specialized testing requirements you definitely need to know about. For English learners across all grades, so K through 12, there are specific English language proficiency assessments. You also might see your 4th or 8th grader randomly selected for the NAEP. That's the National Assessment of Educational Progress. Oh, and for the high schoolers, depending on the exact courses they finish up, there are state-required civics and history assessments. Okay, we can't talk about West Virginia without mentioning a really special tradition, the Golden Horseshoe. It's this fantastic long-standing social studies competition and assessment all about state history. For this cycle, the registration and testing logistics are running from December 1st, 2025, right up to February 1st, 2026. And that's followed by essay deadlines a bit later in February. But hey, keep this in mind. While public school students are enrolled automatically, homeschool and private school students absolutely must proactively register to get in on the action. Don't miss that deadline. All right, let's pivot to Section 3, Accommodations and Accessibility. This is all about ensuring a fair experience. Now, this is a super crucial safety net for families. Reassuringly, testing isn't just this rigid one-size-fits-all thing. Specialized committees actually work together directly to approve supports based entirely on state guidance. We're talking about IEP teams for students with specific special education needs, Section 504 committees for specific disabilities, student assistance teams, and English learner committees. So if your student needs a bit of support, like say extended time, rest assured there is a whole structured team ready to make that happen. To put it simply, the state really does provide flexible options based on what a student actually needs. While the General Summative Assessment is the core measure for the vast majority of kids in grades 3 through 8, there's another path. It's called the Alternate Summative Assessment, and it's designed specifically for students with the most significant cognitive disabilities. I think this brilliantly illustrates that a testing requirement definitely doesn't mean every single student has to take every test in exactly the same way. Moving right along to Section 4. Educators and adult learners. We are going beyond the K-12 classroom. So you might be wondering, what if you're not a K-12 student? Well, testing is actually a massive part of workforce entry and teacher certification in West Virginia, too. For those of you pursuing teaching credentials, passing the required praxis exams, yeah, that's a completely non-negotiable step. The state has a licensure testing directory that outlines exactly which tests are required for licensure, endorsements, and even alternative certification pathways. Basically, if you're looking to enter the teaching profession, checking those official requirements is absolute step 1. And let's look at the GED exam pathway for adults seeking high school equivalency. Step 1 is actually pretty surprising. There is no state residency required to test in West Virginia. Crazy, right? But step 2 is absolutely vital. The state actively advises that you pass an official practice test or work directly with an adult education instructor first. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a strong warning. Do that before you do anything else.
Only after you check that box should you move to step 3, which is registering online. Following these steps in order sets adult learners up for total success rather than frustration. Okay, bringing it all home with Section 5, Why Testing Matters. Let's look at the big picture. I absolutely love this quote directly from the state's philosophy. It says, "A single score should not define a child." It's such a reassuring reminder, isn't it? While these statewide assessments give us highly useful information about a student's progress over time, they are really just one single piece of a much, much larger puzzle when it comes to their educational journey.
So, what does this all mean? How is all this assessment data actually utilized in the real world? Well, first off, it identifies exactly where extra academic support is needed. It's also used for reporting school and district performance and ensuring the state is meeting federal accountability requirements. But ultimately, it guides instruction and resource planning. It helps policymakers see if the education system is actually serving all students fairly, which is absolutely crucial. Okay, let's rapid fire some highly actionable, practical tips for families to keep in your back pocket. Number 1, check your school's specific testing calendar early, because those testing windows can definitely vary. Number 2, proactively ask about IEP or 504 accommodations if your child qualifies. Don't wait on that. Number 3, confirm if course-specific tests, like civics or that awesome Golden Horseshoe competition, apply to your student. And finally, always use the official 2025-2026 WDDE resources so you stay totally prepared. Which leaves us with this final thought. How will you use this year's testing structure to support rather than stress your educational journey? Look, by understanding this playbook, knowing the timelines, and actually utilizing the available accommodations, you can turn a basic state requirement into a powerful, insightful tool for success in the 2025-2026 school year. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.